Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It is Friday and it's time for Friday favorites, the weight loss edition. I took to Instagram recently and shared these before and after pictures. I am super proud of my weight loss journey and the fact that since June 2020, I have not gained back the weight. I was repeatedly asked to do a video that dedicated itself to talking about what I did and some tips, tricks, and hacks based on the responses that you guys gave me to my poll question of asking what are the things that you struggle with the most. So this video is gonna really try to break down the answers to those questions, and I hope you find it valuable. Again, like with any other video, if you like this kind of content, you enjoy it, please hit the thumbs up. Let me know you liked it. Comment down below on what are your struggles with weight loss and what were some of the tips, tricks, and hacks that you learned here that possibly you didn't even think about and that you will probably try. I love it when you guys do that. So last year, 2020, in the first half of the year, I lost almost 40 pounds. Working with a nutritionist and fitness coach, her name is Jill. She's with B3 Fitness. I'll link her info down in the description box below. If you mention that I referred you, she will take off $50 from the program that she will use with you. A ton of my weight gain took place in the second half of 2019, which hands down was the most difficult year of my life. It was when I lost my father on November 7th of 2019. And there was just a lot of emotional eating that was happening. And because it was around the holidays, and you know how us Boricuas, us Latinos get down when it comes to the holidays in terms of foods and drinks, we were eating like there was no tomorrow. And when you couple that with the grief that I was experiencing, definitely the emotional eating was taking place. I, like many of you, determined that this was gonna be my goal for 2020, was to lose the weight. I found out about Jill from B3 Fitness and became one of her clients. And basically it's working with a nutritionist that provides you a weekly meal plan along with coaching and just support. And so I, on a weekly basis, would dedicate a day to check in with Jill. I would send her a picture of what the scale was saying I was weighing, along with a front, side, and back body picture of me. Actually, that before and after picture that I showed earlier, that is from my check-ins with Jill. Although her program does include an exercise regimen because of my chronic nerve pain in my feet, we just focused on making sure I got 10,000 steps a day. If that was doing a walk every day, I had to try to get those 10,000 steps a day, and that certainly helped. Drinking lots of water, making sure I had a ton of rest, at least 7 hours of sleep, and documenting what I was eating through my MyFitnessPal app. Now, MyFitnessPal app is a free app. It does have a premium version that I actually purchased for this weight loss program. I had MyFitnessPal app for the longest time. I just didn't have the premium version, but I used it for this weight loss program, and it was really, really helpful. And the consistent use of that on a weekly basis when I would get my weekly meal, even though a nutritionist was the one who planned my meals for me, the value in that is that because I did that for 5-6 months with Jill, I got into such a habit of tracking my meals that I ended up making sure that I was staying in my daily calorie budget. So she would send me a menu that would be inclusive of staying at or under a certain amount of calories, anywhere from 1,300 to 1,600 calories a week. A nutritionist is the one that sets that target. You know, they're the experts. They went to school for this. So based on your height, your weight, what are some other medical conditions you might have, they calculate what your calorie budget on a daily basis should be. That's the program I did with a nutritionist, was weekly check-ins and coaching, tracking everything I ate, meal prepping based on the menu that she provided for me, lots of rest, 7 hours a day at least, plenty of water. And so that was the program, basically the gist of the program that I did with Jill over at B3 Fitness. Here are my tips, my tricks, my hacks of staying at or under my calorie budget, So first and foremost, you have to have a positive mindset. And I know this sounds really squishy and touchy-feely, but it's the truth. I sacrificed for almost 6 months of not eating my traditional cultural Puerto Rican foods. And I always told myself, this is only for a season. This is only for a season. This is only for a season. I'll go back to eating those things. But for right now, I need to sacrifice. And so there is a funny saying my husband says, I think he got it from a hip hop song, but everybody wants to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. And that couldn't be more true. You have to have a positive mindset going into these types of programs where it requires discipline. And just, if you need an accountability partner, get yourself one. If there's someone in your life who you trust, you admire, that you implicitly know they are going to encourage you, hold you accountable, get that person. Let that person be the person that you send your weekly check-in pictures to. So if you're like me, you do not like to be deprived of any type of food group. And we all love our carbs. So when I went to Instagram and asked the question of my followers, hey, what are the things that you struggle with the most on a weight loss program? Carbs came up a lot, as well as meal prepping. We'll get to that in a minute. Another piece of feedback I got from you guys on Instagram was that nighttime snacks and munchies was like an issue. And I could relate to that because on any diet I've done in the past, I would do so well from the time I woke up till around dinner time. After dinner time was when I felt like I was being terrorized in my brain about wanting something to munch on. I've been good. It's okay. A little snack won't hurt. And then the next thing I know, I've consumed Garrett's cheese popcorn, chocolate, ice cream. I mean, it's just a hot mess. Sitting in front of the TV and eating that, mindlessly eating. That I get, it's a struggle for me too. Many of you said, I work full time, I have kids, I'm cooking for my family, let alone I'm gonna cook something separately for myself. Okay, listen, I get it. I get it. Meal plan and prepping is not the funnest, but I kid you not, it is so critical to your success because you do not want to leave it for chance. You do not want to leave it to chance where you're eating off your kids' plates and what they're eating and hoping that you get around to making yourself your own little healthy meal. You can't leave it to chance. What I have found, and this is an important tip, is find ways to incorporate what your family's eating in a nutritional way for yourself. So, for instance, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays are the days that I plan for my family when I was losing the weight on that program. Meals that I could have with them, but I would have to tweak a little bit. So for instance, Tuesdays are Taco Tuesdays. Instead of having the tacos with the shells and the tortillas with the rice and beans on the side, I would have a taco salad. That way I wasn't having to make two separate meals on that particular day. On Thursdays, I usually make as like my pasta day. Instead of having pasta, I would make some zucchini noodles on the side. You could also use spaghetti squash, oh, I can't talk today, as your substitute pasta, if you will. Super delicious, really healthy. If you're not into eating vegetables, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You sometimes, there are a lot of things that I didn't really necessarily like when I started this program. And just as your body and your palate gets used to it. That's what I can offer up. If you're not up for that and at first taste, you're like, I don't want to have it anymore. Well, then that's the way you are and that's the way you operate. I don't know what to tell you, but to try and be consistent with trying and exploring new things. So we talked about Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now for Fridays, we always do a pizza night where I get a pizza kit at a local Italian deli and my kids and my husband and I, we make our own pizza. But in this case, instead of using the pizza crust and the ingredients that come in the pizza kit, I would get this lavish bread from Amazon, and it makes a really good substitute for pizza crust. And I would just make sure that the tomato sauce or marinara sauce that I had didn't have additional sugars to it. So just make sure you're reading labels as well. And so, yeah, I mean, pizza night I had with my family, taco night I had with my family, pasta night I had with my family, but with these little tweaks and changes. And when it comes to meal planning and prepping, you guys, I equate this to like going to the dentist. It's just one of those things that you have to do, because if you don't do it in the long term, you're going to regret it. And again, this is only for a season, you meal prepping and planning, so that way once you reach your target weight and you know how these different macronutrients interact with your body and you've tracked your food, you understand calorie levels. By the time you lose your weight and you're able to have your target weight, you can go ahead and eat what you want, but in moderation and with good portion sizes. The next item that y'all said you really struggle with is the nighttime munchies. Many of you were like me saying, I do so well from the moment I wake up till dinner time. It's after dinner when the kids are in bed and it's just me or me and my husband that I just start snacking like crazy in front of the TV, or I just get the nighttime munchies. So a little tip for you and how I handle that, because believe me, that was me too. I would end up saving the sweet treat on my meal that my nutritionist would give me, and I would save it for the last snack of the day. And I would make sure I would space it like 2 hours before I would go to bed. So around 8 o'clock was like my cutoff time of when I would have this sweet treat and snack. And I was sharing in my stories examples of those sweet treats, which is anything from like a Trader Joe's brownie ice cream sandwich, coffee ice cream sandwich, crisp at that. It's so delicious, only 140 calories. There is a yogurt parfait that I will be sure to list out the ingredients on how to make that for yourself, that I put in the freezer for like 15 minutes and it ends up having this texture or consistency of ice cream. But bottom line is I would save, knowing myself that sweets are my weakness. I would end up saving that delicious sweet as a reward psychologically for myself for a job well done during the day. Another tip for those nighttime munchies is just close down the kitchen once you're done with dinner. Make sure that the lights are off, that you're physically far away from the kitchen. Now, for me that I live in a 2-level home, that's easier for me because I physically have a different level of the house separating me from the kitchen. But for those of you who live in apartments, smaller spaces, whatever rituals you need to establish to indicate to your brain physically, the kitchen is closed, the lights are off, the kitchen is clean, the door is closed, whatever that is, just do that. Something that I also did was, because I love watching TV at night once the kids are in bed, that was a trap for me, because I would go sneak over to the kitchen just next door, grab a snack, come back, and eat until it was time to go to bed. What I do now, as I said earlier, is I shut down the kitchen, after I've had that last sweet treat, and I physically remove myself from the first floor, go to the second floor to my room, and I watch my TV programs on my bed, on my iPad, which leads me to sleep. Sleep is critically important for your body's ability to burn fat and lose weight. However, you need to prioritize and set the mood for you to get to that point of wanting to go to sleep, do that. For me, this is what it looked like. Electronics are a terrible thing to watch up when you're in bed. And I just said I would watch my TV programs on my iPad on my bed. But I would have a shut off time. So if I'm trying to go to sleep at 10 o'clock, I would shut off my iPad at 9:30. I have an app, a sleep meditation app on my phone that I turned on and would have a guided meditation for sleep. If you've got to put some lavender oil on yourself to get that aromatherapy going, go ahead and do that. And in some cases, melatonin can work. Some people I know, like me, I don't like the way melatonin makes me feel in the morning in particular. So I actually switched over to using CBD gummies. And so there are specific gummies or CBD pills even, that help and address sleep. But whatever you have to do it in order to get yourself at least 7 hours of sleep so your body and your brain can recuperate. So many of you responded and said that you have issues with specific types of food. So I'm going to go through a series. I have a bunch of food here that I want to show you guys that I use as a swap or a hack to satisfy that salty, crunchy, or sweet tooth craving. When it comes to sweetening things, I use stevia. I buy this one from Trader Joe's. Yeah, and I also have it in the powder form. These little packets, belongs in my coffee station, but these are little stevia powder packets that I also got at Trader Joe's. Really straightforward. just keep it in a container right there. But stevia is a great sugar substitute. It comes from a natural plant leaf, and there is an aspartame. Many of you said you have a soda addiction. Now, interestingly enough, my nutritionist told me that if I wanted to have a 0-calorie soda on this diet that I could, but I'm not much of a soda person. Like, I never have been, thank God, because that sugar content is terrible for your body, not just for weight, but just also, you know, for other conditions like diabetes and heart disease and whatnot. So what I drink consistently is not just water, but also bubbly or sparkling waters. I use Waterloo is a great brand of sparkling water. Their coconut flavored one is amazing. But I've also found some stevia sweetened drinks like this ginger beer. Super delicious. Y mira, 0 calories. I've actually used this drink to help and mix it with some red wine for sangria. But that's when you're not on a diet, okay? Something to look forward to, right? For my peanut butter lovers, if you like putting peanut butter in your yogurt, in your protein shakes and smoothies, peanut butter itself is high in fat, and the macronutrient that contributes the most to calories is fat. That's one of the reasons why I use, instead of peanut butter, I use peanut powder. And so this is also one that is from Trader Joe's, but I found one from Costco called PB Fit that's really, really good, and they add a little bit more protein to it. One thing that my nutritionist Jill said when you're talking about prioritizing different things in a weight loss program, calories are king, protein is prince. Protein is a very important component to weight loss when you're on a nutritional program. And speaking of protein, let me tell you the joy I felt when Jill, my nutritionist, sent me when I was on my weight loss program for breakfast. Because I love breakfast. It's like my favorite meal of the day. When she would send me waffles or pancakes or oatmeal, it was like a joy. But specifically the brand of pancake waffle mix or oatmeal that she would have me buy is this one, the Kodiak Cakes brand. Since we talked about peanut butter, me da hambre. This is one of my favorite snacks that hands down, this is my favorite snack. Having a rice cake, a lightly salted rice cake with half of a banana and peanut butter. Que rico. Okay, let's talk about bread. Sara Lee has this low-calorie brand of delightful multi-grain bread. They have other kinds of breads as well, the Sara Lee. This is just my favorite brand. I love Sara Lee and their delightful bread. It has 45 calories per slice of bread, which is really low. There are other brands of breads that are low-calorie, but I just love the texture of that particular bread. You guys, this rice cake treat is so good. I cannot wait to finish this video so I can hurry up and finish eating that treat. Okay, here are my tips for those of you that are into the crunchy and salty and savory. I got you. Don't be getting yourself some Garrett's popcorn. If you're from Chicago, you know what I'm talking about when I say Garrett's popcorn. So no bueno, no bueno. You want to get yourself something more like Skinny Pop, which is 45 or 47 calories per cup. So depending on where you're at with your calorie budget in a day, you can incorporate this. Pero espérate. My favorite thing to put on this is a 0-calorie seasoning from Trader Joe's. Everything but the elote seasoning. Y'all, this stuff is the truth. It's so good. I put this not just on my popcorn. When my nutritionist Jill would put in my weekly menu mashed potatoes, yes honey, mashed potatoes, but not with butter and milk on all that stuff. You literally just boil the potatoes, smash it, and then season it with 0-calorie seasoning. This was the 0-calorie seasoning I would use, and it is bomb. And a very simple low-calorie lunch that I would have consistently, and I would literally ask Jill, I would say, Jill, I want this on my lunch menu consistently, is having a sandwich with that Sara Lee bread, but coupling it with some protein chips. Now, y'all, these protein chips I love. They're from Quest. You could get this at Walmart, at Target, or Amazon. I just tried this new flavor of the spicy sweet chili, bien rico, but my go-to is the nacho cheese. I love this. My son in particular, loves these Quest chips. Gotta warn you, these are a little bit on the pricey end, which is why I buy it in bulk. to save a little bit of money, but it definitely satisfies that crunchy chip craving that you might feel or get. Another salty, crunchy treat are these rice cakes with a garlic and herb Laughing Cow cheese. Laughing Cow cheese has a whole variety of types of cheeses. This one happens to be my favorite. You put these two things together, maybe some arugula over it, super rico. Well, those are my tips, tricks, and hacks, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Listen, summertime is right around the corner, and I know y'all know that you gotta show a little bit more skin. Just remember that there are a ton of resources out there to support you on this journey, and surround yourself with people that are going to support you and cheer you on. Was there a tip or a hack that I shared with you here that you found most helpful? If you did, leave it in the comments below. Give me that feedback because it helps give me ideas for the kinds of content that I could provide in the future. Thanks for watching. If you made it here all the way to the end, I appreciate you. I'll catch you on the next video. Until next time, I'm your girl, Rebeca Huffman. I can't even say my name. What's wrong with me? But until the next video, my name is Rebeca.